Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Our whole goal here is to take really complex topics and turn them into stories that are easy to follow and, well, see. For centuries, we've been absolutely captivated by these tales of lost civilizations. Cities of gold just swallowed whole by the ocean. But what happens when we stop telling stories and actually go looking for them? So I came across this comment on Reddit, and it just perfectly captures this popular belief, right? This idea that archaeologists are missing something big, that there's evidence of these forgotten worlds hiding in plain sight, especially under the water. So yeah, let's dive right in. All right, so if you're someone who believes in ancient, advanced civilizations, there are a few key underwater sites you probably point to as proof. These are the big ones that make people say, see, history as we know it is just incomplete. Okay, first up, let's head over to Japan. Off the coast of Yonaguni Island, there's this absolutely massive terraced rock formation. And a lot of people are completely convinced this thing is a man-made pyramid and that it's 10,000 years old. You can see why, right? People look at those sharp right angles, the flat terraces, the sheer scale of it, and they just think there's no way nature made this. It's so convincing that it's often called Japan's Atlantis, maybe a relic from the very end of the last ice age. Okay, now let's hop over to the Bahamas. Near the island of Bimini, you'll find this, well, it looks like a submerged road made of these huge rectangular limestone blocks. And this thing has been fueling speculation for decades. You look at it, and the arrangement just seems way too orderly to be a coincidence. To a lot of folks, it looks exactly like a paved road or maybe the top of a giant wall. And of course, you know where this is going. Some people link it directly to the legendary city of Atlantis. And then there's this thing. Back in 2011, a team of ocean explorers got this sonar image of a huge, really distinct circular object sitting on the floor of the Baltic Sea. It just sparked this widespread fascination. Look at it. Its shape is so unusual, it kind of looks like a crashed UFO from a sci-fi movie. And that led to all sorts of theories, everything from an ancient artifact to an actual alien craft. So these sites are pretty compelling, right? There's no doubt about that. But what happens when scientists start to investigate these claims? Well, that's when a very, very different story starts to emerge. So that archaeologist I mentioned from Reddit, they offered this really fascinating counter perspective, kind of explaining how the scientific community actually approaches these popular mysteries. It's a bit different than you might think. It turns out that direct investigation really does resolve a lot of these mysteries. So with Bimini Road, geologists took a look and found that the exact same kind of blocky formations, they appear totally naturally on the coastline right nearby. And the Baltic anomaly? Well, they actually went down there, drilled into it, and analyzed the samples. And the verdict? It's just a big rock, most likely dropped there by a glacier. Okay, but what about Yonaguni? That's the most compelling one, right? Well, even that has a geological explanation. Scientists say there's just no evidence that humans changed it at all. And this is a huge point. The people who lived there 10,000 years ago, they used really simple, basic tools. Nothing that could have possibly carved a monument on that kind of scale. So here's the really crucial takeaway. Nature itself can create these unbelievably geometric shapes that look totally man-made. It's a geological process called columnar jointing. Basically, rocks like sandstone can naturally crack and break along these perfectly straight planes, creating those sharp angles and blocky patterns we see. But wait a second. This story isn't always that simple. It's not always just a cool-looking rock. Sometimes, archaeologists find real, confirmed ruins of ancient cities, right where the legends said they would be, deep beneath the waves. Let's take the story of Dwarka in India, for example. For the longest time, the legendary golden city of Lord Krishna was considered just a myth, a story from Hindu scriptures about a great city that sank into the sea. That is, until archaeologists decided, hey, let's actually go look for it. And what did they find? Using sonar and diving expeditions in the Arabian Sea, they found actual evidence of a sophisticated port city. They uncovered these well-planned urban layouts, stone harbors, and all kinds of artifacts that proved this was a bustling trade hub more than 4,000 years ago. It's this perfect blend of ancient stories and modern discovery. Absolutely incredible. And this just brilliantly illustrates a more nuanced truth, right? It's not just Dwarka. Over in Turkey's Lake Van, you've got ruins from the ancient Urartian civilization and even later medieval periods that are just submerged because the water levels changed over time. These sites are proof that real, actual history can and definitely does end up underwater. So, all of this brings us to the big picture. This fascinating debate between myth, geology, and archaeology, it is far from over. Remember that archaeologist from Reddit? They made a great point. Exploring these submerged coastal areas is, well, they said it was bloody hard. It's super difficult and expensive. Underwater archaeology is really seen as the future of the field, but there just aren't that many specialists. And what that means is there are probably countless real historical sites just out there waiting to be found. And just think about this for a second. This is a staggering fact. Over 80% of our entire planet's ocean is still completely unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. So where does that leave us? Well, science has given us logical, natural explanations for many of the most famous underwater mysteries. But with that sheer, mind-boggling vastness of the unknown, you just have to wonder, what other historical secrets, what other sunken worlds does the ocean still hold?